2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program. I'm Duncan, Garner, and this is Editor-in-Chief Live. Great to have your company this morning. Welcome on board to Editor-in-Chief. Let me hear from you this morning. 0800 863 293. The government lifts the ban on oil and gas exploration. Drill, baby, drill, says Shane Jones. Now, whose side are you on? Call me 0800 863 293. Is this madness or is this what we need? And who are these companies lining up to come in here? Are they actually coming in here? Men's Health Week. Also, these sobering statistics that should set you on your ass this morning. What are you doing for your health? Let me know. 0800 863 293. And can Caleo and Forrester do chin-ups and press-ups? And how many can they do? And if they turn the tables on me live, how many can I do here in the studio? More than they think, probably. I'll tell you that. And the changes to housing that I got out of Chris Bishop. What game changer is just around the corner on this one? We're live across social media this morning. We're on Rover, YouTube, TikTok. We're on Twitch as well and on Facebook. Leave us the comments. Get involved. Have your say. We're on YouTube there too. It is news time, and here's MediaWorks Deputy News Chief. It is Grace Cocker.
Police are appealing for information as they launch a homicide investigation into the death of a baby in Te Kuiti. Courtney Fraser has the details.
The 10-month-old was rushed unconscious to Te Kuiti Hospital on Saturday, where staff were unable to resuscitate him. An initial examination showed the baby boy had suffered blunt force trauma. Police believe those injuries were not accidental. They're working with the infant's family, including his parents, to establish how he came to be so badly injured.
A key member of Israel's war cabinet has quit the emergency government. Benny Gantz accuses the Prime Minister of putting his political survival above the return of hostages. CNN's Paula Hancock reports.
It doesn't mean that Netanyahu's coalition government collapses. He does still have a majority, but it is a very slim majority.
The wife of British fasting guru Michael Mosley has paid tribute to her brilliant husband. His body was spotted by a TV crew just 20 metres from a resort in Greece. Dr. Claire Mosley says the family take comfort in the fact he nearly made it back following his hike. He took a wrong route and collapsed where he couldn't easily be seen. The government's proposing to incentivise oil and gas drilling. Changes to the Crown Minerals Act would reverse the current exploration ban. Greens co-leader Chloe Swarbrick says this is not a win for the average citizen.
Who is benefiting from this being the government's policy platform? Because it's definitely not New Zealanders across this country who are just looking for affordable electricity.
For the first time in more than 2 decades, Graham Hart is no longer New Zealand's wealthiest person. He's been dethroned by the Malbury family, owners of toy company Zuru. NBR estimates their worth to be around $20 billion. In sport, the men's French Tennis Open final on Sky Sport.
The new Spanish king here will lift the Coupe de Mousquetaire.
Carlos Alcaraz has come back from 2-1 down to beat Alexander Zverev and claim his first Roland Garros crown. Loose forward Akira Ioane has announced he's leaving the Blues for Japan at the end of the Super Rugby season. The Blues host the Brumbies in the semis on Friday. The Chiefs are away to the Hurricanes in the other semi on Saturday. And that's news in sport.
Okay, thanks, Grace. Shane Jones coming up very shortly. Stand by for that. But firstly, these stats have to change. Another baby dead, 10-month-old. I didn't want to start the week with this, but was there an arrest in that case in Lower Hutt? It was a year ago?
No, so there are still 3 people. I think it's 3 adults that are persons of interest. I know the mother came out, I think it was a few months ago near the start of the year. It was around the 200-day mark and did an interview with some media saying she didn't do it.
Who did it?
For trying to,
Who did it?
It's a startling case. It was very graphic. And this one, they're saying they have no idea how this baby was so violently injured. They couldn't be resuscitated despite the best efforts.
Yeah. Every 5 weeks we do this in New Zealand.
We do.
Every 5 weeks. Shameful. All right. Thanks, Grace.
Garner.
Okay, so an estimated 20,000 people took to the streets to protest the government's fast-track bill, which when passed will make it easier and faster and cheaper for big infrastructure projects to be built. Conservationists are horrified by the plans, and thousands of critics of the bill marched on up Queen Street over the weekend. Less concerned about the Powerball, which was just hours away, and more concerned about the Wrecking Ball, who they call Shane Jones, about to be unleashed by the government, you see. So what impact did it have? Well, exactly jack, as in stuff all, and it only triggered old mate Matua Shane to press send on the government's plans to bring back oil and gas into New Zealand. So 20,000 protesters, and no, the government did not pause. They didn't go all possum in the headlights or piss its pants or pontificate and ponder the future and second-guess themselves that they might be wrong. They just went for we're going again, they said. We're going for it. They responded in the most brutal way, firstly with the one-fingered salute, and then came the drill party, the theme drill, baby, drill. Resources, Minister Shane Jones saying the Jacinda Ardern ban on oil and gas exploration is over, and he said New Zealand's open for business. Hoki mai iho, as in come back on into New Zealand, our friends in the industry, and at Talamai, welcome to Shane Jones. Shane, g'day, good morning.
Kia ora, morning folks.
Why do we need this?
20% of all our energy and electricity at the moment is dependent on gas. And because gas supplies are declining, our quality of life has been compromised and we're increasingly relying on Indonesian coal. Now, the green banshees don't want to admit that, but the reality is the lights progressively are being kept on in New Zealand because of Indonesian coal. What a perverse outcome, given that Jacinda wanted to wave some kind of esoteric wand and transport us into a new future without oil and gas. So it's sadly a naive decision, and we're reaping the economic costs of it now.
If you look at our profile, has it been dirtier as a result of that decision? Have we had more emissions, or has it been dirtier in terms of pollution than it would have been otherwise with that policy?
Well, we are improving the amount of wind and solar input into the system, but that's intermittent, that's inconsistent. And when you turn the dairy cow factory on, when you turn the Fonterra, the steel mill on, you don't want to know that there's a cloud in the way of the sun. You just want to know that the lights are going to go, the power's going to flow, and more importantly, the damage that's been done in terms of soiling our reputation is less to do with climate change. It's more to do with the doubts and the uncertainty around our international profile as a source of destination, because people fear that we're heading towards a Venezuelan slope. And if I listen to the lotus eaters that were wandering around Queen Street, I can't help but agree with that perspective.
Why would they come back in, Shane? Why would any of these companies who've largely exited want to come back, given the indifference and given the concern from the Labour Party and their mates, so they don't like all this? So why would they come back in when the investment future's pretty risky?
Well, it's not only indifference. We're seeing full-blown hostility from the Green Party, where they're threatening to overturn the rights that might be allocated through the fast-track legislation. I think Labour won't find its way until they get rid of Megan Woods, the worst energy minister in the history of Western civilization. Until she leaves Labour, I don't think they're going to change their ways. She's too powerful, too used to getting her own way, but more importantly, she closed down the refinery, which is deeply wounded our energy resilience.
Yeah, but how do you get them back in, Shane? How do you incentivise these companies to get back in? You're going to have to offer them something, aren't you?
Well, historically what we had was a long-term gas contract where and this time round we are already doing it, we're getting all the big gas users together and secure from them a long-term commitment to buy the gas in the event that investors are willing to exploit, develop, and produce a new source and flow of gas. What person, what entity is going to spend their own dough uncovering and enhancing the current gas opportunities unless they've got guaranteed customers? That won't happen for as long as you've got these green fairies threatening to close down the economy because they want us all to rely on wind and not have a backup of gas. So we've done this in the past through the Maui contract in the 1970s, and the officials no doubt will look at all the options to keep the lights on, because I'll tell you what, we'll wipe out our GDP if all of a sudden we start to go the way of South Africa and can't keep our lights on.
Right, well, there's already power companies that are offering bonuses to turn your oven off at night and things like that. You're already seeing that in New Zealand now. With this incentive, are you already in talks with the big users of gas in New Zealand to say, hey, sign here, so you can go to the market and say, here's the confirmation?
Well, therein lies the riddle, mate. Every time I open my gob in this regard, I'm given warnings by the gentailers that are partially share market companies that they have commercial sovereignty, they can take care of the problem. And here you are telling me we're asked to turn our heaters off and our ovens off. So either you and I are wrong in being hoodwinked into making these savings, or they're wrong and they can't deliver. So we're looking for a solution from the commercial players, but obviously at the end of the day, the sovereign risk rests with the Crown, and there's a bunch of officials that were stood up 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they're going to bring a whole bunch of options back to the Crown.
Have you met any of these companies yet? Have you spoken to them? Have they approached you?
Yes, I've had numerous meetings with all of the gentailers and Methanex and the other large companies. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, Duncan, they've got to run their own businesses, generate a profit, keep their consumers happy, but they all identify the fact that you can have all the sun in the Sahara, you can have all the wind of Parliament, you cannot guarantee you can keep the lights on unless you've got a backup resource. And that backup resource has historically been gas. That was munted by Jacinda and Megan Woods. Now we've got Indonesian coal.
How many jobs would it create in New Zealand? Have you got any sort of estimates on if you did bring some of these companies back, if they did come back?
If you go back to 22, if you go back to a couple of years ago, the value of the sector was just nigh on $2 billion. The Crown receives about $250 million. Sadly, we're watching all the skilled men and women leave Taranaki and go to Australia because they're not confident that the New Zealand government wants a power system that involves the oil and gas sector.
Well, they've gone, haven't they, Shane? I mean, they've gone. They've left.
I beg your pardon?
They've left. These workers have gone, haven't they? They've gone already.
Yeah, no, a variety of them. I mean, my wife Dot and I, we know a few of them, and we're seeing my own whānau progressively decamp to Aussie. I mean, it's a deeper point. When are Kiwis going to stand up against this green piety? When are Kiwis going to stand up against this green naivety? Do you want a modern, resilient nation where we use our own resources, we lessen our dependence on centres of international uncertainty, or do you want to have this green nursery rhyme that on the basis of unicorn kisses you can keep the lights on? Kiwis, wake up.
What about more power cuts? If we don't go down this route, let's say we're unsuccessful with your push, if it doesn't happen, what's the chances of more power cuts and more blackouts?
Oh, look, we do have Genesis Energy, and sadly Genesis Energy are often caned because they're the ones who import the coal. They have the Huntly Power Station. If it wasn't for that facility, we would have a very, very dangerous problem in terms of our energy. In terms of our energy supply. So that company and CEO, Malcolm, should be on the honours list. But it's now an issue that's beyond any single power company. We're wanting to electrify. We're wanting to expand the economy. The only way we can get out of the gargantuan hole that currently surrounds us, economically speaking, is to grow the economy. No economy grows in the absence of certainty around supplies of energy.
So all things going well, how many jobs do you reckon you can create?
Oh, look, I'd leave that up to the market, mate. I mean, my job really, as you well know, is to create certainty. I'm going to go out and meet various companies that were here who are hanging on by a thread and convey to them that New Zealand is not Venezuela, despite the best efforts of the Green Party.
Okay, hey, Shane, I appreciate your time. Just quickly before you go, what are you doing for Men's Health Week? You got a few sit-ups, press-ups, something like that?
My wife and I are getting ready to go away for 1 week to Rarotonga.
How outrageous.
I'm hoping that will have great impact on my mental and physical health. I'm sadly no longer walking my 10,000 steps as I was doing last year. I've got to get back into it. As you know, I'm a survivor of various challenges with men's health.
Well, good luck, Shane. Enjoy the break. Enjoy the week away. Appreciate your time on the program.
Duncan Garner.
Okay, so 0800 863 293. He's pretty adamant, isn't he, that the Greens are some sort of, wrecking ball themselves, and the only way to go is Shane's way. 0800 863 293. Do you want more oil and gas exploration in New Zealand? It's time to wrap the weekend sports, and the Warriors did well, didn't they? The Super Rugby win as predicted. John Day from the Sporting Rumble. It's a podcast and a good one, and he's with us now. G'day, Johnny.
Yeah, g'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, nice to see you. Nice to see you. I'm good. What are you kicking off with?
Super Rugby. I think it'd be rude not to, right? All the home teams won over the weekend. There we go. Super Rugby.
Bang, it's on.
Yes, we're on. It's good. Chiefs Friday night, too good for the Reds.
Yep.
And then it was one-way traffic, of course, for the Canes against the Rebels. See you later, Melbourne Rebels. Probably won't miss you.
That's the end of them, right?
Yeah, all gone. Blues against the Drua. That was only going to go one way as well. And then the Highlanders were doing bloody well against the Brumbies after 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then it was all Brumbies from there. So we've got semi-final set Friday night at Eden Park, Blues Brumbies, which should be rather interesting. And then the big one for me, 4:30 on a Saturday afternoon/evening, Hurricanes against the Chiefs.
You've almost got two finals there, haven't you? I mean, I know the semis, but I hope the crowds come in, because to me, the quarterfinals, if that's their best rugby competition, it looked all a bit unexciting and dreary, right?
Yeah, the results weren't great, but the crowds have been really good this season. So I'd expect Eden Park to be rocking. It would be more so if it was, I'd say, a New
Chiefs.
Zealand derby.
Yeah.
But, the Blues, they're going to farewell Akira Ioane, who's announced he's going to Japan after 10 years with the Blues. And no Patrick Tuipulotu anymore, which is massive not only for the Blues, but for the All Blacks, isn't it? Because, we know who we don't have. Retallick Whitelock, now no Tuipulotu. It's Scott Barrett, who's played 4.5 games of Super Rugby this year.
Yeah.
And after that, you got Tupu Vai, very good player. Josh Lord has been injured all season as well. No wonder Razor was trying to get Whitelock back.
Yeah. And now you've lost Akira, who was clearly not in any plans.
No, I didn't have him in my loose forward mix. Well, such a good player on his day, but a bit of if the sun's out and it's during the day and it's the Wallabies, great, but if it's a hard grind on a wet night against England or France or the
South
Springboks,
Africa,
just didn't really turn up in those big games.
Akira Ioane, and he is Michael Jones, Zinzan Brook, all in one, isn't
really
he?
athletic.
Really
Absolutely.
athletic. And brilliant on his day.
Down in the channels, in the wide channels, great, and the tough stuff in the middle where you need to be for an All Blacks loose forward, probably not. But hey, the guy's played over 100 Super Rugby games for the Blues, so I'd say they want to do it for him.
This Brumbies Blues game, that's actually exciting because someone from another country, that's a good start.
Yeah.
and I haven't seen the Brumbies at Eden Park for a while, and they usually traditionally have been the strongest team out of Australia.
And especially with their line-out, their set-piece stuff, which normally can trouble the Blues. We saw the Blues against the Crusaders a few weeks ago. Crusaders destroyed them at scrum time and they weren't great at line-out. So, a couple of very interesting semi-finals indeed.
Yeah. Okay, what else we got? F1, is it?
That's going on at the moment. A very wet Canadian Grand Prix. A lot of safety cars, a lot of lead changes. The last time I saw Max Verstappen, of course, doing what he does. But Lando Norris was in around there, and George Russell from Mercedes started on pole. Just starting now. Also IndyCar in Road America. We've got Marcus Armstrong, who finished on the podium in the last race, first time ever. He's starting 3rd, McLaughlin 8th, and Dixon, who leads the championship, starting in 10th. So keeping an eye on that this morning as well. The Warriors, like you mentioned in the intro, sensational in Townsville. Tough place to go. So to beat the Cowboys by 30 points, and they're now 9th, 1 point outside the top 8. They host the top of the table, Melbourne Storm, this Saturday.
If I was a season ticket holder, I'd need to take a defibrillator every weekend because these guys, they were rat shit for 4 or 5 games. They were written off as all over, and then they've come back storming home. The most inconsistent side, as we know, but who do you bring back in now? I mean, does Johnson?
Well, they've got an option to bring Johnson, and I think you do.
You have to, do you?
I really do, yeah. He's a great player, and this is the Melbourne Storm they're playing, so you need your best, but this is the time of year the Warriors always do well. It's Origin period when the other teams are slightly weakened, like the Cowboys were. They had to rule 2 of their 6 Origin players out at the weekend, so... This is the Warriors' time. The charge is on. Get on that bandwagon again.
Yeah, so the upper wires. And so the thing about this is, to me, is that they've got their backs up again, right? So they're a confidence team, aren't they? Yeah. And so who do you drop? Because they've got to be impressed with the guys they brought in. You're almost undroppable. Yeah,
almost, unless it was Sean Johnson. And they showed with Tohu Harris, even he got benched. And he's the captain last week. So maybe Andrew Webster's not afraid to just usher them back in slowly. But I just think, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Tamari Martin have done a great job together. But you bring SJ back.
And this is why depth is important, because later on in the season, if we make the finals and so forth, you've got the depth. It's been tested. It passed the test.
Exactly. Andrew Webster will be stoked. I always believe in Andrew Webster too, one of the great coaches going around.
What else is on?
French Open. We had that overnight. Carlos Alcaraz is the new king of clay. One Spaniard leaves. Nadal, 14 titles at Roland Garros. 21-year-old Carlos Alcaraz from Spain. First French Open title. He's now won Wimbledon, as well as the US Open. Youngest person to ever win 3 slams on 3 different surfaces.
Wow, it's pretty good, isn't it?
This kid is just going to be as good as Djokovic, Nadal, Federer.
There's the call.
He's going to clock up over 20 Grand Slam titles.
There's the call. That's
no
the
doubt
call.
about it. He's got another 15 years of this, Duncan. There's 4 Grand Slams a year, 60 more opportunities.
Who's the greatest to you, for you?
Oh, Federer.
Yeah, okay, Federer
is the greatest simply because he was the best player to watch.
It was beautiful to watch.
It was, but in terms of titles, you can't deny Djokovic.
We want to, though, don't we?
Yes. We don't like him. We don't like him for some reason. And then Nadal, 14 French Opens, the king of clay. And just incredible. That last Aussie Open that he won a couple of years ago was just something else, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, Johnny, appreciate it, mate. All the best, mate. Appreciate your time.
Garner.
Okay, a number of you have said that there have been a few issues with sound, so if you're hearing me now, the sound's been sorted, isn't it? If you're not hearing me, then the sound's not sorted. Troy said to me, Duncan, got you on Twitch. Sound is so much better this week, team. Thanks, awesome. Tuxer says, what's for breakfast? Nothing yet. Got a glass of water. Elizabeth's got no sound. Elizabeth, have you got sound now? Let me know. James has said, I might give the live show a miss today and listen later when it goes up as a podcast. Got a busy morning. Come on, Jimmy, come back. 0800 863 293. Have we fixed the sound? We fixed the sound. We think we have. We're not sure. It's gone to our technical. There's been so many calls come in. I think the lines are back open now because I think you might have crashed them. There were that many calls. But 0800 863 293 is the number. 0800 863 293. Who wants to bring mining back? Shane Jones pretty adamant about that. Who wants to bring mining back? And can the Warriors win this year? Do you think the Warriors can actually... Is this the year? I don't think that question's been asked before.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief.
Okay, so...
1.
At number 1 of my 3 questions today is to Kiwi blokes. How's your health? It's Men's Health Week, and here's the most sobering statistic, which should be a wake-up call to men if ever there was one. But 1 in 4 of us men will not make it to retirement, to the age of 65. My dad was 62, died of cancer. My grandfather on mum's side was 53, life of the party, auctioneer, full of fun, piles of mates, enjoyed a drink and died at home of a heart attack after taking a quick nap. Never woke up. The stats aren't getting better. We're just collecting more of these stats more often, and the news isn't good. Men are more likely to die of suicide at 3 times the rate of women. And if you break it down by ethnicity, it's worse for Māori and Pacific men. What am I doing about it? I join the local gym. I now go 4 times a week, play table tennis twice a day. It's brilliant. I love table tennis. It's such a good game. The sweat drops off. It's fun. I drink water, no fizz. Genetics have so much to do with it, though, don't they? Genetics. And my warning is loud and clear. Don't you think?
2.
It's number 2. How do you think this is going to go down? Shane Jones is due as a guest speaker at a big Climate Action Protection Society conference in Christchurch this week. It's an international event of who's who, really, of the tree-hugging world and the Three-Eyed Blind Frog Protection Society and the chin strokers across academia, who are about, not you of course, who are about to sit down with the guy with a drill in his hand and oil and gas on his mind, you see. Shane doesn't lack a vocab and is never lost for words, but is this one conference speech that you might do via Zoom? Sell it to them as doing it in the name of reducing climate emissions and to save Shane from potentially being sort of decapitated on arrival, I would have thought.
3.
Number 3, have you heard about the seal silly season? We are in it, and its proof of that is the massive but half-blind fur seal that set up home on Big Manly Beach on Whangaparoa Peninsula. It had tried Little Manly Beach, but it wasn't big enough, so it stumbled upon Big Manly, and being blind in one eye, locals wondered if it had come up from Christchurch and was ditching the Crusaders after a dreadful season. Anyway, it drew a crowd, as fur seals naturally do, in retirement havens for the walking bewildered, where there's not much else to do but wander the beaches looking for stray wildlife. These things were almost extinct, but got their game on. They threw their leg over, and they've now returned in some numbers. Expect to see more of them. If you start looking for them, please do not approach.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, so the housing shortage is a massive problem, right? And the solution, well, it's obvious. We need to build more houses. But we also need to make sure what we build helps real Kiwis find healthy and affordable homes. So if we get it wrong, we're going to live with the consequences for decades, like we did with leaky building, I suppose. The government's making changes, and when I spoke to Chris Bishop, the Minister, last week, he told us about a couple of them. Have a listen to this. Right, what he was...
Our coalition formation with the ACT Party, and we actually campaigned on it as well. We're going to let the councils opt out of what we call the 3x3, so the MDRF. So we are going to do more apartments. So, next to a train station, for example, I don't know many people who don't, support the idea of, sort of 6-story apartment buildings next to or above a train station.
Yep.
Everyone sort of agrees with that. That's all good. That's a way of doing good density. But the 3x3 was a bit one size fits all, so we are changing that. What we are going to do, though, is allow more granny flats. And I'm really excited about this. So, if you've got a piece of land and, like in the old days, the 50s and 60s, when it used to be really easy, it's just knock a little granny flat up the back, house someone out the back. Literally, potentially your granny. That's how the name started. So we're going to make that a lot easier. So you won't need a resource consent once we've done our reforms for a granny flat up to 60 square metres or a building consent.
What's the case now? I thought the case now was you didn't need a resource consent up to 60.
No, look, it varies around the country. Some councils are quite liberal, others are really restrictive. So we will be making it essentially, nationwide guidance and standard for everybody. And you won't need a building consent either, as long as you follow a range of rules.
Okay, so that was Chris Bishop, the Housing Minister. 3x3s, that's the rule that lets you build 3 townhouses 3 stories high. That's gone. That's going to be for council to decide, either support or otherwise. And he's making it easy to build what he calls the granny flats, any dwelling up to 60 square metres without a building or resource consent. And only needing an engineer to sign off the plans. They don't have to be flats. You don't have to put your granny in them either. You can leave them in the retirement home, whatever. So why make these particular changes? Who will win? What will the rules be? Professor John Turkey knows the sector inside out, and he's with me now. John, g'day, welcome to the program.
G'day, good to see you.
60 square metres nationwide, build your granny flats, and just sign it off with the local engineer down the road. What do you reckon?
Sounds like a chin scratcher. I'm not quite sure.
Well, what do you think?
Yeah, it's totally doable. It is doable. I mean, the devil's in the detail, though, because what it comes down to is you know, it's all very well saying you're going to get a engineer signing off, but actually what you're going to be doing is getting the engineer to confirm that everything's been built according to code. And that's a different conversation entirely, which means you end up getting, you can't just knock it up asyourself. You've ended up having to engage a builder to be able to do it for you.
You've still got plans or draftsmen
of course.
You know, so it'll be, you assume it's professionally done.
Yeah. What it isn't is a revert to what it used to be back in the day when it was a case of you knock it up yourself and then you get retrospective, healthy, unhygienic, or whatever the terminology was at the time.
That's not like that, though, is it?
Not like that,
no. Do you agree with these moves? Will this will make, you'll see lots of build, I reckon.
You will, for sure. The problem is proliferation, and also the other effect is to do with infrastructure. You know, the easiest thing in the world is to talk about densification, but you know, you look around anywhere where we are now, for example, or anywhere else in the city, the more stuff you put onto a particular site, more people you physically have in a space, then obviously you increase things like, you know,
we're seeing it now. It's a bloody disaster, mate.
Sewage, stormwater runoff,
traffic,
car parking, and so on. And the proliferation of these issues just grows and grows and grows. So unless you've got the transportation infrastructure, unless you've got all the sewage infrastructure, stormwater runoff stuff, it's not a straightforward undertaking.
No, it's not. And you've seen the proliferation of small house movements, of the smaller under 30 square metres, because at the moment you can put those pretty much up in your backyard. Similar rules, yeah?
Well, it's the same sort of deal. You've still got to sign it off and actually have it written off to the signed off to the effect that it's compliant with building act.
But this is 60 square metres, which is a reasonable size.
It's a decent sized place, yeah, for sure. And to put it into context, the average household size in the UK, which is an equivalent in the OECD, is something around about 75 square metres.
So I mean, this is 2 bedrooms. This is at least 2 bedrooms, lounge, kitchen, decent bathroom. Yeah, and I think we've seen it already. Is the rise and rise of all these small homes, and they're on everyone's yards at the moment. But you do this, and I think you're right about the transport issues and the other issues. We've seen nothing yet. If they give this a nationwide tick off.
Oh, well, what you again put it in context? Auckland is the least dense city possibly on the planet. I mean, if we had the same population density as Mumbai, there'd be 38 million people in the footprint of Auckland.
We can't handle 1.5.
We can't handle.
Well, we seriously can't, because we've got narrow corridors. You see, we're in a small isthmus, haven't we?
It's small isthmus, and you've got extremely. I mean, we've got the tyranny of distance. We've got small populations spread over a very wide area, so all of our infrastructural load is huge. One of the reasons why we have this big issue with potholes is simply the fact that we have long commute distances that means that we've got more traffic on the roads.
What happened to this plan to build around the train stations, to have the big high rises throughout the train network? Because we're investing in the Auckland CRL, so you've got all this infrastructure in the city. What about that plan? I always thought that was a good plan.
It's as good a plan as you're going to get in this sort of situation. It's like everything else. You know, when you're dealing with infrastructural investment, it's a constant exercise over an extended period of time. Yeah. So yes, we're seeing it, but you've also got to find money. You know, the building industry is driven by borrowed cash. Yeah. You stick the interest rates up and all of a sudden the cost to build goes up.
Well, it stopped. I mean, the developers, and you'll know this better than me, but the developers are sitting on the sideline. They're not broke. They're just not investing because it's 6%, 7%, 8%. See you later.
Absolutely. If you are paying for money,
yes,
then you're not going to be paying right now.
Yeah. Do you expect to see an explosion of some 60 square metre units on building sites?
We'll see an increase for sure, you know, and quite rightly so. They can be done in such a way where you can prefabricate them, you can get them done volumetric, so you can bring them in from off site, crane them into place, good to go. Those sorts of solutions are excellent. Again, the problem comes down to the infrastructural load associated with all the horizontal.
Well, this happened to me. This happened to me in my street. I couldn't get out of my driveway because 2 houses became 15 across the road. Yeah. Then there were 30 cars there, and they parked over your driveway. You literally were heading your car and leave your note saying, "Sorry, pal."
Yeah, it's madness.
You know, so you can see aggression, and people get frustrated, and that's what we're not doing it well. Will this save money? Will this save money for people?
Potentially, yes. And again, if we go down the line of having a scenario where we can have prefabricated homes brought in, it would be great to have a scenario, for example, where we can have a standard unit type of property that can be craned into position that's already pre-approved and ticked off and signed off as far as all the building code.
I think we're seeing that, aren't we? Are we seeing the rise of that?
Yeah, I remember it was Kingsway out in not Sandringham. Anyway,
but that being
there were 6 units, and they were all craned into place, and it was instant overnight. And it's a good outcome.
Could give a boost to New Zealand jobs too. This sort of thing.
It most certainly could do if we can onshore the production process, and that's a big question mark itself because it requires it's an investment again. It comes down to it.
But so you're largely positive about the changes.
I'm as sitting on the fence, but slightly on the side of yes, it's a good idea.
Yeah. How's the 3x3 thing gone? Because to me, in some parts, it looks like an absolute debacle.
I just don't think it didn't really tip the scale. I don't think much happened. And when people say, "Well, we're going to take it away," a big yawn takes place. And
well,
so what?
Some councils just pulled the fingers and said we're not doing it in the first place.
Well, also true.
Yeah. All right, John. I appreciate your time on the program. All the best.
No problem.
Garner.
Okay, 0800 863 293. Marty said to me, Duncan, Leaky Buildings was mostly the weird design, the modern flat-top mono-pitch roof and no high-pitched roofs with overhanging external gutters. That was the best design. Yeah, well, basically you had windows with no eaves on them. And the water just came gushing on through. It was a bloody nightmare. 0800 863 293. Who wants to bring mining back? Caleo, I'm going to do something shortly about around men's health. How's your health? Because you've been off. Caleo's been off for a few days. Caleb, you've been off for about 7 days, haven't you?
Yeah, over a week.
Okay?
Yeah, well, after you gave me the flu,
I didn't even give you the flu.
Yes,
I gave you accolades.
You came in here sick that one day. You came in here sick, coughing and spluttering,
and you caught it.
Snot all over the floor. You should have seen him, guys.
And then I gave you a hug.
Yeah, then he gave me a big, massive bear hug, and then I was off for over a week. No, I'm fine now. I've got a lot of this. You can see on the camera.
You got the vapor drops.
Vicks vapor drops.
Yeah,
and I've got this stuff too. I discovered it.
What is it?
Not I discovered it, but
you discovered
used
Vicks
it for the first vapor rub.
Oh, did you get someone to rub it on your chest at night? Did someone rub it on your chest?
Yeah, me.
Okay, my mum used to rub that on me.
It's fantastic stuff.
It
clears
is.
You.
But are you clear? Have you done tests and everything? You're not going to give it to us?
Didn't have COVID or anything like that.
Right.
I actually feel quite refreshed. It's like I've had a week of annual leave.
It would be almost it's almost nice to see you again.
Well, it is. It's great to see you too.
Yeah.
But that flu is gnarly though. It can be. It's pretty bad.
I tell you what, we'll do something on the program on this. And if you're out there and you know that this is the case, then let us know. But there are so many bugs now that are antibiotic resistant. Like there's all these new bugs are coming in, and they're just saying stuff it. We're not going to be. We will take on the antibiotic and we'll beat it.
This was only my experience, but that flu there was way worse than COVID, and I've had
really?
COVID twice. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so you're out. You're out.
It flattened me. Yeah.
Wow, if you're such a big, strong man.
Oh, I know. I couldn't do chin-ups and press-ups to the flu.
What should be? Because we've got Men's Health Week, you see, this week.
Yes. Why are you so obsessed with chin-ups and push-ups for Men's Health Week?
Well, I wanted to see how many you could do. Maybe
women do them too.
Yeah, but it's Men's Health Week though.
Yeah,
it's us as men, men.
Yeah.
We've got to look after ourselves.
Yeah.
You seen the stats?
Yeah, I have. I'm very much well aware of that.
What's Forrester doing for Men's Health Week? Forrester, what are you doing?
What are you doing, Forrester? I know he's got himself a haircut.
Yeah,
he
that
looks
was
like
last
Anthony
week.
Kiedis now. It's
yeah,
quite
but
nice.
is he
I think the haircut cuts today.
Yeah. Do you do any fitness, Forrester?
Yeah, man, gym every day. I went rock climbing on the weekend.
How far did you climb up the rocks?
Oh, it's bouldering, so you go sideways, or it's more like technical. You don't really go high.
Ever fallen down?
Not at this gym. I'm sure I have it at a different one, but it's not very high.
Right. Are you strapped in so you don't sort of?
No ropes. You just got a big mattress.
Ah, that's kind of
It's only like about 1 story height, but they're just technical holds and stuff.
I only fell 1 story, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
And onto a mattress.
Yeah, it's a huge mattress.
I think we need to roster in some backup as well. If we're listening to this, we might lose Forrester. Okay, guys, thank you.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Right, so as we said, it's Men's Health Week. Once a year we do this. We pause for thought about our precious males in society, and we think about them a little bit. We attempt to trigger them into some kind of health kick and hoping that they may live longer. But men are men and boys will be boys, and we're not very good at going to the doctor, are we? We certainly don't like bad news, so we'd rather stay away and be in sort of denial about it. We find time for fishing and hunting and drinking. We go to footy, we hang out with the kids and we work, but boy, we just don't have time or motivation or energy to schedule in a doctor's visit. Too busy, too hard basket. Yes, we are more basket case than hard case and hopeless case, but not a lost cause if we keep reminding us. And repeat it. You've got to keep repeating us. Go to the doctor. Society plays along with all this, of course. Try getting a GP appointment today, or this week or tomorrow. I say good luck. There are barriers everywhere, roadblocks galore. We look for any excuse to say, bugger it, I'll be okay. I'll be fine this time. There's always another excuse, and it's always someone else's fault. I'll do it next year. So why do it? Here's why. 1 in 4 of us won't pick up New Zealand superannuation and make it to retirement, age 65. 1 in 4 men. Now, it might be that Forrester, Caleb and I get there, but the next male to enter the studio doesn't. That's what I'm talking about. I had a wake-up call over summer. I got a small cut on my leg, got cellulitis, infected leg, basically. It blew up when I was out in the middle of Old Man's County in Hokianga. I stupidly tried to fight it naturally for a few days by, well, naturally doing nothing, but more fishing, and it responded by flaring up even further, getting angrier, and I was forced to hospital on New Year's Day. I had 2 weeks of antibiotics, and it came back. And then I got 4 days of antibiotics via the needle, you know, the old into the old arm, and when it didn't immediately respond, they said blood clot, maybe 24 hours to live. Let's find the clot, they said. And they tried to spend an hour trying to find the clot and save this guy. That was me. They couldn't find the clot due to my muscle density. Just a joke. There wasn't a clot at all, okay? There was no clot at all. They made no comment about the muscle density, although I just think they had their own views. They did say that there was evidence of density in the brain, as in I should have got help a little earlier, and they were right about that. In the end, it took 2 months to sort. 2 months to get rid of this infected leg. But us men are on the back foot from the start. A boy born today will live nearly 4 years less than a girl born in the room next door. He'll be over 20% more likely to die of a heart attack than the girl, and almost 30% more likely to get diabetes. Worse, he's 3 times more likely to die by suicide or in a motorcar crash. 8 Kiwi men every day lose a loved partner or to preventable illness. 1 they didn't need to die from. Māori Pacifica men live even shorter lives, significantly shorter lives than others on average. That's wrong. And almost 1 Kiwi man in 4 will die before they reach retirement age, as I said. 1 in 4 of us won't live to retire. We can do something to change these outcomes by making small changes to the things we eat and drink and do. You can do it. We owe it to the ones we love and who love us and who depend on us. And it's not hard. Small steps can make a really big difference. Little changes can and do lead to big results. Everyone can do a little something to make their lot a lot better. Start small. So walk a little, eat a little less, see and feel the changes, enjoy life, and live longer. Who doesn't want that? So I joined a gym. I pumped tin with my son and his mates. And despite their bravado, they still can't beat me at anything. But the chin-ups, they beat me at chin-ups and talking smack. Like, you know, they're full of themselves. But that's okay, they're young guys. There's a guy, Monty, in the gym who can proudly bench 102.5 kgs, and he confronted me and said that he could do this. And I said, show me. And he did it. And he goes, can you match me? So I did. And then I said, 105 kgs, Monty? He said, no. So I pumped one out, just one. And I did it, despite it nearly killing me. And that's our problem, boys. It's us being macho men, you know. Macho men, all piss and wind and competitive and puff chest. We need to learn to be vulnerable. Say no, be humble, and realise we're far from bulletproof. We simply are not bulletproof. And you get to my age and you soon realise that. In my teens, I thought we'd be here forever. But my dad's death at 62 years of age reminded me that we're not all that. We all drank too much as young ones. 2 of my friends died as a result of drinking too much. If a mate stops drinking, support him. Don't give him shit. Why do we give people shit for stopping drinking? Drink water, not fizzy. Walk and do something. You'll feel energised. It's taken years of denial to recognise our problems, but we are different to women. We just are. Truth is, men mostly know what the right thing to do is and the change we've got to make, but we just don't do it. We need a shock to the system to shock us into action. Don't wait to be shocked, maybe too late. And do you love your kids? You know that love that you thought you were incapable of? Well, do it for them, okay? Good luck.
Garner.
Okay, that's pretty much us, I think. A bit of feedback's come in, Duncan. I'll say it. Brothers, stay away from the sugar and the takeaways. It's true, isn't it? What do you do with sugar, Caleb? Do you stay clear of sugar? Sugar's the evil one, right?
Sugar, yes.
Yeah.
I'd say sugar is probably the evil one. It's the one that's in probably... Oh, I don't even know. I'd be talking out of my ass here.
Well, you mostly do, so carry on.
It's an easy way to put on weight. Do you know what I actually did at the start of this year though, for men's mental health?
What did you do?
I'm a man, and
you are a man.
Congratulations. It was for my mental health.
Yes.
Because I'm actually on mental health medication, and so I looked into it and I was like, I'm still feeling a bit shit. So what I did, I stopped drinking for about almost 3 months.
That'll do it.
And in that time, I lost about 7 kilos of literal just carb and water weight, basically. And I'm not pretending to be like some sort of real health gym bro like person.
It's sugar, right? Sugar.
It was the extra, I guess, weight of the carbs of drinking. You know, I looked at it and I drink 3 or 4 times a week, not heavily, but there was just enough to you know, hold that weight there.
So have you started again drinking or off?
I only drink once a week at the absolute most.
And when's that? What day?
And that's after I've finished refereeing a rugby game.
So you have a beer after a game?
Yep, that's it.
How many do you have? Just one?
Up to 3's my max usually.
Right.
But the thing was, after that reset, and this is just me. Obviously, some people out there, they enjoy drinking and it's a social thing and everything. Like, I get it. But for me, I'm just kind of like, after that reset, I'm kind of done with it in a way.
Yeah.
You know.
I reckon all my worst mistakes in life have been because of I've drunk too much.
Oh,
anything after midnight's not usually that good.
No.
In terms of an outcome. After 2, it's even worse. After 4, it's really bad, you know?
Oh, yeah, totally. But I think it's more the point of, like, it was a really... I was surprised at how easy it was to lose weight by literally just stopping drinking. Very hard thing to do, though, stopping drinking. You once you've been in that sort of, I guess, cycle of social drinking and everything, and having it in hand, it's a mental thing. It's like, oh, shit, what do I do now?
People question me. So I turn up to a place and I don't drink. Like, what's wrong with you? Saturday night I went out for dinner for my mother's birthday with a few friends and things. And I said I'll just have a water. What's the matter with you, mate? Said this 80-year-old across the table. What's the matter with you? I said nothing. Why don't you have a drink with us? I said I am having a drink with you. I'm having nice water. I got a car outside. I got my son in the car, and we're driving. What's wrong with you? You know, like, we've got to get away from that.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Shame them into drinking.
I do think though that my sort of generation are getting more. Well, not more into not drinking, but less away, or getting more into understanding that not everyone does.
Yeah, you're a complex generation, though.
Oh,
I mean, you bring all sorts of difficulties.
I don't bloody understand this half the time.
No. We've got a bit of work to do with you.
Garner.
Okay, look, you're a good man. 0800 863 293. Some of the feedback says, Duncan, Men's Health Week's good. Challenge, walk 10,000 steps a day. Have a social group of fitness buddies each week. Mountain bike, surf or touch, but hang out with some fit mates and do your checkup annually, which is what we should do. Duncan, really appreciate all the work and the updates. Sorry I have to say, though, but I've got to pass on to the young guys at church your podcast, but your language has precluded it. Would you mind recasting, please, without the language, as it blocks some of the audience? Many thanks in advance. Blessings, Tony Blackie, Beckenham Baptist. Oh, I'm being told off. That's... Okay. Should we do two versions? Do we do the church version and the other version? That's what he's saying, was he? Drop the F-bomb. I'm not a big swearer, though, am I? I don't think I'm a big swearer. But I hear what you're saying, Tony, and I don't think it probably adds listeners and viewers to swear. It doesn't add them, does it? And certainly if you keep swearing, I think probably you lose them. So I appreciate that. Duncan, loving your podcast. Had it on 3 devices today. The TV, the Dell laptop and the phone for commenting purposes. Didn't put my feedback on cyberbullying as was walking to the yard, aka my parents. I'm heavily involved with social media, not because I want to, because I have to. I'd gladly delete my Facebook profile tomorrow if it was in my favour, but Facebook is how I keep up with my family and low-key advertise the far-out places that my deliveries take me. I don't even look at commenting on the sections anymore. I know it's full of keyboard warriors who hate the world, so they think they have to sit there and bring someone down and all that sort of feedback. People, I believe, just follow News Hub and the AM show and the like so they can say nasty things. Work is busy. On a personal note, me and the wife had a long weekend break for King's birthday and thoroughly enjoyed dinner at Salt. Our hotel cost me a packet, but the food was yum. Have a nice weekend, mate. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a stellar job. Just be yourself, James. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Can we finish by talking about Lotto? I'm really pleased that there were a number of winners, and they all got $7.1 million each.
There was a line out the door to my local countdown on the night that Lotto was getting drawn.
Did you buy one?
No. Why would I? I mean, I get it. How much is a Lotto ticket, though? I mean, if it's like $20, it would be
24, I think, is the minimum entry. No, says Miranda, who buys whenever. 16, is it?
16.
You got Jack Chance.
I've never bought a Lotto ticket in my life. I mean, I'm only 26, but I've just never bothered.
Yeah, I never. You don't look at.
But the line out the door was insane.
I know, and that's the thing. The chances I don't know if you caught up with it last week. 1 in 40 million. You will get hit by a meteorite before you get hit by a lotto.
1 in 40 million.
1 in 40
million.
million. Yep.
There's not even 40 million people in the country.
No, but you'd have to include Australia and southern Indonesia as well.
Australia and southern Indonesia.
Australia's 25 million people, plus us 5 million. So that's 30 million.
But this is a New Zealand lotto.
Yeah. So 1 in 40 million chance. That's how many people are buying it now.
40 million.
That's the mathematical equation of winning it and winning the big prize.
Do they open it up to Australia and Indonesia?
No. What I'm saying is that's the size of the 40 million people. You got 1 in 40 million chance. That's your odds. It's so rare. You're going to get hit by a meteorite, Caleo.
This is maths. I don't get it.
No. That's why you don't want to buy a lotto.
No.
But if you're one of the 7 or 8 winners, or whatever, at $7.1 million, it will change your life.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I totally would. I actually, do you know what I did do on Saturday night though? I didn't buy a lotto ticket, but I put down how I'd divvy it up if I did win.
Did you sponsor the podcast?
No, that didn't feature. But
well, thanks for coming, Caleb.
I said that I'd give my grandmother $5 million though.
Why? What can she
I'd
do
give
with
my
it?
parents $7.5 million each. Well, because she's good value, and she needs some money. She's on the pension.
She's clearly not of the value of your parents, though, is she? Because you're going to give them more.
Well, they're my parents.
Yeah.
And my grandmother does live 2 doors down from my parents, so they'd probably share it.
They'd probably share it.
Yeah.
All right, Caleb. Very generous man. This is us. That is us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you all for your feedback and your support and all the messages that have come in. You're telling me now the sound is back. That's a good thing. Otherwise, you're lip reading all morning. I'm Duncan at rover.nz to my team. Caleb, welcome back, sir. There's some concrete pills I'll put under your desk there. Miranda Forrester, Zarina. Thank you, guys. Total professionals. We'll do it all again tomorrow. And remember this, life is no dress rehearsal. There is no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on earth. So get out and enjoy it. Have a great day. And here's my handkerchief, which is a sock, just to convince you. Okay? Have a great day, New Zealand. Bye-bye.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 8